Welcome to CiNEMACHiNE. I'm Al, and I'm here with Ryan.
Howdy.
And Brandon.
Hello there.
And
today gets it.
Yay! Tonight we're gonna review Godzilla versus Kong. Now playing on HBO Max and in your local theaters. So please go out and enjoy the theater if that makes you comfortable. But we're here. I think we've all seen the other Kong and Godzilla movies, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's get right into it. This movie was just released. It's still weird to me to talk about new movies in 2020, 2021. So this was released March 25th. It was directed by Adam Wingard, had a budget of roughly $160 to $200 million. It's already brought in $121 million so far. Internationally, it opened a few weeks early, so it had a little time to make a little ground there. So the synopsis of this movie is Kong and his protectors undertake a perilous journey to find his true home. Along for the ride is Jia, an orphaned girl who has a unique and powerful bond with the mighty beast. However, they soon find themselves in the path of the enraged Godzilla as he cuts a swath of destruction across the globe. The initial confrontation between the two titans, instigated by unseen forces, is only the beginning of the mystery that lies deep within the core of the planet. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We got Alexander Skarsgard, Millie Bobby Brown, Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, Shun Oguri, Isa Gonzalez, Julian Dennison, Lance Reddick, Kyle Chandler, Demian Bicker. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Demian Bicher, and Kaylee Huddle. So, fellas.
Before we get started, what do you think about Isa Gonzalez, Al?
Great. She was a star feature for me in Baby Driver. So she's
before the show, Al was telling us how infatuated he is with.
She's not ugly. I'm just gonna put it out there. She's not an ugly person, and leather costumes will go well. That's all.
He said he wasn't gonna bring it up, so I had to bring it up. It had to happen.
we had to check that box. No, it's fine. I'm sure she knows she's not ugly. So, no. So you guys watched this movie, of course. Did you go to the theater? Did you watch it at home? Brandon, we'll start with you.
Brandon
did you watch it at your theater in your home?
I did. I watched it in preparation for when we were going to record it originally. And
tell you what, hang on. I want to talk about this for a second. We were gonna do Coming to America a couple weeks ago. Neither one of these knuckleheads watched it at all. Didn't even try to watch it. Ryan still hasn't seen it.
To be fair,
and I never will.
I said I will try to watch it, but I've got to watch the original again. I didn't commit. Never committed. I said I'm gonna try.
Well, I will say this. I did bring up the idea. Hey, why don't we watch this movie and review it? And then I totally had too much life get in the way of time, and I was like, oh no, I'm the culprit. So and I apologized like crazy, and Ryan was like, no, seriously, it's okay. So it's like anyway, Brandon,
we will survive.
Yes, I watched it via HBO Max at home a few nights ago.
Me too, man. It's crazy.
Opening day. Yep. I did not stay up till at 3 a.m. That morning to watch it. But I watched it at night. Melissa watched it with me, but she fell asleep. So
is this
a lot of people falling asleep. A lot of people falling asleep in your theater. I'm just saying.
What'd you say, Ryan?
Is this something Luna can watch or no?
Yeah. We're planning to watch it with my family this weekend.
Gotcha.
So with my parents and Cleet and all them. So
yeah, cool.
So it'll be an event. I get to watch it again.
There you go. Get in the way of your Snyder Cut watching. I know that's not okay.
Ultron watching.
Yeah. Ryan, how about yourself?
I also watched on HBO Max at home.
Mhm.
on my in my blue collar theater compared to Brandon's.
Still got a nice setup.
It's one of those it kind of like Brandon said. I know that he's got a crazy setup, but I actually am really enjoying the at home screening stuff as
Is
well.
that on your what is it? The zippity doo? What is this called?
You called it like the Bing Bong or something. I
Always forget the name of it.
XG me.
I'm turning into my dad. Don't tell him. Like, Al, you want to go listen to the Squash Pumpkins?
And AJ McCarron just signed off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched it. That's right. On Wednesday night. Did it come out Wednesday or Thursday? It came out
Wednesday, I believe, or like
Wednesday morning. That's what it was. So I watched it Wednesday night. Yeah. And general thoughts, meh. I'll leave it with that until we dive deeper.
I didn't know we were doing general thoughts. I just, give me the floor.
We don't tell you stuff like that because
you just asked how I watched it. That was by design. I'm understanding it now.
That's good. That's a good strategy.
We meet prior to the show. So
see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You need to just let Brandon give his initial thoughts and then hit record, and then I'll just start mine.
Yeah. No, Brandon. Everybody will hear your thoughts. No, seriously, go ahead. Yeah, I watched it in two parts because I watched it really late at night, trying to make up, and then I watched it early in the morning. The other part. This movie's only roughly 2 hours, like an hour 53, something like that. So, but I will say that it felt a lot longer to me personally. So that's my initial review. We'll get into everything else. Now, I know that Brandon has seen, what was the last Godzilla movie called? King of the Monsters. And because he and I saw it. Huh?
Have we not all seen all of them?
I think we have. Have either of you seen any of the original of either?
What's
franchise?
Original to you?
No. Well, I mean, now I'm just going to put it out there.
I've seen Peter Jackson's King Kong. I've seen the 98 Emmerich Godzilla. I think that's it.
Well, if you are a Godzilla fanatic, which I cannot say that I am, I can appreciate them. I do still want to see the newest Japanese version of Godzilla. Everybody says that's really good. But anyway, I can't say I'm a fan, but Criterion does have like this super cool collection, and it's every one of the movies. So they've gone in and restored them all. Now, did you have a preference? Let's say the last three movies, the Godzilla movie, King of the Monster, Skull Island as well in there. So the last four movies, including this one, did you have a preference in those movies, Brandon?
Rank them.
I think
do that.
Rank
them.
Oh, rank them. We're already getting there.
Yeah.
Rank and file.
Before watching this?
No, after watching this. After watching this.
Okay. I would say the first one, Godzilla, the Gareth Edwards. Mm-hmm. Is it Edwards or Evans? I can never remember which one's which.
Edwards. Yeah. No, not the Deathstroke movie.
I know a lot of people don't like that one because there's not a lot of Godzilla in it, but I think that's the best one.
Yeah, I do too.
And so that's the top for me. And then it gets a little like, I would probably say this one is second, then Kong, Skull Island, then King of the Monsters.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Ryan?
Which is probably counter to everyone else's list. But
I don't know.
Not necessarily here, but I'm saying in general.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, the first one for sure for me. First, second, definitely Kong, Skull Island, then this one, then King of the Monsters. I watched King of the Monsters for the second. I saw it in theaters, and I just haven't watched it since then. And in theaters, like I know everybody had a pretty bad experience with it, but I just didn't recall it being terrible.
Yeah.
I watched it here the other night, and I was like, no.
Oh no, you didn't.
I watched it. I just watched it on our TV in the living room. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just like the spectacle of the theater that made that big of a difference for me. Because when I watch these movies, I don't typically have like a huge expectation for storyline because they're just, giant monster movies. But I was just the action was kind of weak in that one, watching it on TV, and then the story was just ugh.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that you had I'm in line with the Gareth Edwards is the better of them all. The rest of them really just kind of all parallel each other as to I'm not going to say they're bad because they're well-made movies. Matter of fact, I was excited to see King of the Monsters because of the director. And because he directed the Krampus movie that I like so much. And I really like how he stylized that movie. And you can tell, these are storied franchises. So you can tell that he, like I said, whenever they were talking about the director of Fennell writing the new comic book movie, the Magic one or whatever. So I just don't think they get as much leeway, whenever they have these big budgets and all these corporate folks in there. So it was a letdown. I can't say that I was looking forward to it for any other reason. I'm not going to sit there and say, "Oh, I'm excited to see Millie Bobby Brown in something else." I mean, she's a great little kid and everything. I'm sure, but I like her in Stranger Things. But I don't need to see her in anything else, really. I'm just saying, like I
love Al analysis. It's so funny. Like she was great. I just don't ever need to see her again.
Yeah,
ever.
I mean, let's be honest. I'm not going to follow a young child's career. That'd be creepy. So, but no, I really did like the first.
You're a children's musician.
Yes,
you should.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So, yeah. So anyway, let's get into this movie. The cast. You had Skarsgard in there. You had Rachel Hall, which.
Do we need to get into the cast? They don't matter.
They don't matter.
Rebecca Hall. You spelled
Rebecca Hall. Yeah. Rebecca Hall.
The only like standout in this movie is the little girl. Like she was to me the best part of the movie in terms of human characters.
I would say her and Rebecca Hall. I
love Rebecca. I think she's a great actress.
The Town is.
I do too. Well, it's kind of. I mean, the talent. They've got good talent, but they just don't utilize them. Like,
they're set pieces at this point. I mean,
I agree.
Two big monsters fighting each other.
The little girl, Rebecca Hall was kind of an extension of the little girl's character for me.
Yeah,
and she's got enough acting chops to intrigue me. So.
Do each of these movies have to have a broken family with a child that the child is the centerpiece that pulls at the heartstrings?
I think that seems to be like Hollywood screenplay 101 is
it's very 101
to get a lot of like for you to be kind of for these characters to be endearing, you got to either have them come from a broken home, have them have lost a child at some point. It's like the easiest way to get people to latch on to a character.
I know somebody that has a latchkey child, so that's the thing that kind of took me out of this movie early on. I was like, oh, it's the same storyline except it's a little mute girl, and all of a sudden she's Jane Goodall, and she's like, hey, I'm friends with the monkey. I
really do wish they would have had time to explore why and how, and like because they don't really even like King Kong in Skull Island is still on the island, and so they've got him in containment somehow between now and then, and I don't think they talked about how that happened, and they don't really go into the relationship with this girl. But again, I did think she was like, for a little girl, I thought she was, she she kind of held her own, and she's from Georgia, actually. She's deaf.
Actually, from Royston. No,
yeah,
she's
Pride
my
and
cousin.
joy.
So,
she really
you're
is
at
deaf.
the Christmas party. So, well, I mean, that's all well and good. I'm glad the little girl. I just never need to see her again.
That's all well and good. I'm going to crap on her right now.
I'm just kidding.
That's another graphic tease that's in the making right there.
I want to have a Gremlins shirt where it looks like somebody hand drew a gremlin and like did the little like scratch out the eye and put the E in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the movie, Gremlins. So this movie took me out there, and then I dropped out when they had like, well, it was before that because they had the happy music with King Kong, and it was almost like they were gonna have Louis Armstrong. I see these, So I was like, oh my god, like what?
Yeah,
he's happy. He's in a good.
From the opening, they kind of set the tone with that opening like irreverent music. Him like walking around. It's like Shrek. I expected like somebody once told me the word.
We just got copyright struck. So,
Brandon's that good.
But I agree with you 100% because it was just. So did that take you out of the movie at all, Ryan?
I highly miss the anticipatory nature of Godzilla, the first one. Like, I felt like there was no. In the last couple movies, I feel like we've lost like the scale of these creatures. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like it varies, and I feel like they don't do a good job of like, other than like the city battle where buildings are just getting destroyed. Like, I just didn't feel I
thought they had a few scenes where they had like ground level camera angles to show the scale, like on the but obviously the city stuff, but which we can get into. But like the what is it? The aircraft carrier in the water. Yeah, like they had a lot of
like, I think back to the first Godzilla movie. The thing that stuck out to me out of the gates, like from the trailers with that movie, was like the skydiving sequence where they've got the red and like they're flying through the clouds and like starting to see this creature. And like even like you're talking about on the
I agree with you
about on the aircraft carrier, like he looks big, but like then when you see him fighting in the city at the end of the movie, like they just don't look this as large.
I think it is in part due to they haven't really kind of like teased these creatures in these last three entries. They just show them full front, like they don't. Like in the first one, they did the Godzilla approach, where the not Godzilla, the Jaws approach, where it's like they tease and tease and tease, and then at the very end, you get to see it.
That cankle a lot. Yeah, it was great, and that's the thing Gareth Edwards does in his movie Monsters. If you've never seen that movie, that's really what really got him the job for Godzilla, and then Rogue One ultimately, and I think. We all know how much I like Rogue
nothing
One.
Since then.
That dude's like, he's like, I don't know where he is. He's got like a real scraggly beard now. Doesn't want anybody to know who he is. Yeah, it's, but the score in this movie. Let's chat on that for a second. Junkie XL, same guy that did your Snyder Cut, right?
Correct.
He goes by Tom Hulkenberg now.
Okay. This score was very basic, and there was even a scene where King Kong's still attached to the aircraft carrier, and Godzilla's coming through and just running through them all and everything. And there's an underwater shot where it literally goes dun dun dun. It was like, oh my gosh, are we really doing that? So it was just the big sound that Nolan has in his movies, and then the basic score. So I don't know if that's
interesting. So I would agree with you. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it stood out to me like that when I look back on this movie. It's not something I remember. But I will say one thing that was interesting is because we've been following this Snyder Cut thing, and and Junkie or Mr. Hulkenberg
Hulkenberg
had
Put some
done
respect on his name, Ryan.
yeah, had done or started working on the score for the Snyder stuff way back when, and then he got taken off for Elfman, and kind of had to like retool everything for Zack Snyder's Justice League. And there were a couple of moments in the city battle specifically where there were like elements of the score, little things where I like picked up on it sounding similar to certain things in Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. So I'm sure some of the material that he had worked on originally for Justice League, when the project got scratched, he modified for.
He's like, I'm using it.
Seriously, like,
yeah.
I think I
he
remember
did some of
something
that.
about him doing that for Alita or something.
Yeah, that's what I. That's
Did
what
he
I've
do
heard.
Alita as well?
Yeah.
What? So,
But I mean, as far as your comparison to like the Nolan stuff, I mean, that's the camp he comes from. He's a protege of Hans Zimmer. So
yeah,
like,
I was about to say, wasn't he in the Hans Zimmer camp? So
yeah. The score didn't really stand out to me. But I don't think it needed to. I mean, it's a Godzilla. I think it's just more. It's you're not going to be like, oh man, that Godzilla score. I just think it's serviceable. Just like this movie, it's serviceable.
yeah, it's a popcorn movie, and I think that this movie is, and rightfully so. This movie is mostly made for international audiences because this original franchise is an international audience. That I mean. The kitschiness and all of that is from the old kaiju and whatnot. So and I really appreciate the kaiju art. I really appreciate all of that. I really appreciate how they came like from the man in the costume to what it is now. But this type of movie, not just this movie, but this type of movie seems, and Ryan asked me a long time ago, Al, do you just not like big visual spectacle movies? And I think what it all kind of clicked in my brain is that I think it's just that they lean on the effects too much, like the special effects too much. And that's why I lean into the Gareth Edwards. You actually have the heart and you actually get to know the stories and you actually are invested in the characters by that point. I honestly don't want a little girl to die and I don't want her to get hurt, but I know she's not going to get hurt because I know what they're doing with that trick.
I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. I like the story in the first movie definitely takes the front seat to VFX and to its credit because it needed it, and that's my favorite movie to this point, even in this series. I do think that it's possible to do both.
Yeah, there's a balance.
Yeah. Sure.
I think that the reason why they basically, in quote unquote, course corrected with the rest of the franchise because general audiences were upset that they didn't get to see much of Godzilla in a Godzilla movie, and so they just went too far. They course corrected too much and forgot about the human element.
And both of the last and the King of Monsters and this, they're like, here they are, right up front, like, you got them. Like
I saw some quote too about how, I don't know if it was the director of this movie or somebody was saying that it's time for a like Titans only movie. And I'm just like, no, just don't. No.
It just doesn't. I mean, they already have that. That's what they're doing.
Well,
this is what I expected. I didn't expect it to be, very heavy on the characters. I expected for Kong and Godzilla to fight, and I just knew that they were going to have a Mecha Godzilla element in here. They basically took Batman v Superman and copied that. And I
was going to say that, but I thought y'all would think I was being a jerk. I was going to say that exact same thing. I was like, I was waiting for him to say Martha. I was like, oh my God, like this is.
That's
Martha. Why'd you say that?
That's been a running joke on the Twitter for a while, actually, even before this movie came out, that that Kong was going to say save Mothra, and that was gonna, and people have already put out memes since then. But yeah, I mean they do have a lot of like like for instance, they have Mechagodzilla and Godzilla doing the like atomic breath at each other, like that. Just like that moment in BBS. They have
similar, for sure.
Well,
they have
Godzilla and Kong, like they're just like, oh, I was
mean,
waiting for like that funny.
Well, it's the exact same. You got a mad scientist.
Yep.
Lex Luthor making Doomsday, Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it was silly.
Once the Mechagodzilla, I didn't like the design of it.
I didn't either. I think they were trying to make it appeal more to the old school like Godzilla fans. I want to give them a break on that. I think they were trying, but it still looked terrible to me. It looked like it was a person in a costume to me. That whole
thing was I was the character stuff was weak. I was like, whatever, like, it's a Godzilla movie. But then they started getting into like using Ghidorah's head to like, I was like, oh my gosh, like this it's just beyond me. I
just thought it was hilarious that when they finally stumble upon Mechagodzilla and Brian Tyree Henry's like, Robot Godzilla, and the kid from Deadpool's like, no, it's Mechagodzilla. Like, why is that the obvious answer?
Yeah.
I don't understand why. Why anybody would just assume,
like,
got to be so on the nose.
Camera winking dialogue. Keep that crap in Deadpool. All right.
Talking about winking. Did you see Godzilla smile when he knocked King Kong down when they're like in the big battle in the middle of the town or whatever? And
Godzilla, too many wrinkles for me to see him smiling.
King Kong, they get right up on his face and he goes like that. I was like,
what's funny?
Does he make that noise too?
What's funny about that? I was listening to an interview. Real Blend had an interview with the director. Excuse me, with the director last week, and thank you. And he said that Toho Studios had very specific guidelines about not wanting Godzilla to emote. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of they kind of gave in and let them use that little moment for whatever reason. They kind of snuck it in there. But
so early on in the movie, I mean, when they do this, that neither one of them are going to kill with another one because they're like sequel. So King Kong has his famous battle axe. Didn't know King Kong ever had a famous battle axe, but
it's got conductive charging capabilities like an iPhone 12.
Yeah, he's got that mag charger. They go down to his lair, get the little axe and everything. He's like, I found my toy. And then he gets back and Godzilla breathes on it. And he's like, now it's more powerful. And he goes over there and he kills the Mechagodzilla. And then they're just looking at each other like, all right. And for a split second throughout the whole movie, I honestly thought, flashing back to when they were playing the happy music, I just knew they were going to be like, why can't we be friends? Why can't we?
They like run off into the ocean holding hands.
Like,
did it throw? So I will say, as far as like effects go, I thought this movie actually did. That's one of its strong suits. Like I felt like it was pretty solid. I liked the Hollow Earth stuff as well. Mm-hmm. But what threw me with the Hollow Earth, what threw me with the Hollow Earth thing is like he goes into his like lair and there's like a seat crafted and like who did that? Like
I've got one chair. Like everything else is just open.
Like there were doors and stuff. I don't know. Like
I want that open
trying to
floor
suggest
plan.
that Kong built this place?
Well, they had a
with his axe.
Kong like ape looking statue in there, so it seemed like that's where he came from.
Well,
I know that was like understood. I just mean like the logistics of like building things. Like, is he that sophisticated?
yeah. He's like, I can just see him going over blueprints. Like, let me see how.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I was like, I felt like this is just like a wild creature, Middle Earth, and then he's got like this
maybe his species devolved intelligently. Like,
okay,
I don't know.
Right. Maybe he just automatically knew sign language and taught the little girl sign language. Maybe it's a reverse Jane Goodall. And but I was sitting there watching this movie and I'm thinking that they're in their little vessels or whatever, their little spacecrafts, and they're flying around and they just happen to be able to get everywhere they need to get to, no problem. And then I think Godzilla blows a hole into the earth, digs to China basically, and
So, sorry, go ahead.
and then the little girl, and then the sadistic pterodactyl demons fly down and start killing people.
I wonder if
And
they've been described as that in the reviews. Sadistic pterodactyl demons.
they fly down and start ripping people in half and whatever. And the little girl is just like, oh, she's not like, oh my god, like they're just like, don't touch my child. And he throws a rock at the head.
There was a very like,
Oh boy,
this was such a out there concept. I felt like there wasn't enough reaction to how ludicrous what was going on. Actually, what like they found a whole new world, like and they're just like cruising, like, oh, all right,
we're setting up the Edwards verse, the Gareth Edwards coming back, bring it all together. Well, guys.
Well, I feel like, I mean, you talk about like Godzilla, like blowing the hole in Tokyo or wherever they are, and just the fight in Tokyo. It's like there's so many people dying. Like all these buildings are crashing.
Again,
there's nobody on the phone saying this area is uninhabited. I'm being facetious.
Okay. I was like, Brandon, don't be a hypocrite.
I was going to say the same thing. Hey, Superman kills 1,000 people.
No,
so
we'll see that. Okay, we want to talk about that. Play into that. That's a story beat. There's stakes there. That's intentional.
It's true.
The joke is, Al, that in the following movie, because people complained about people dying in the first one, they kept having to have little exposition dialogue says, "Oh, this area is uninhabited. There's no people here," so that people wouldn't complain about people dying.
Yeah,
but I'm just joking.
Well,
one last,
your jokes are hurtful. What were you gonna say, Ryan?
No, it's just that it felt like you were gonna wrap up. Before we do, I just want to talk about the cast. I just felt like they had so much talent in here that was totally wasted.
Yeah,
like Alexander Skarsgard, Kyle Chandler, like Kyle Chandler's character.
He's like 5 minutes of
why
time
there. Like
one day he was there for one day. He was like, I got to go do another Netflix show. So he is a great TV actor. I
don't know. I felt like there were just too many people for what they were trying to do.
Yeah. But that I will say, even flashing back to the older days, I mean, some of the older movies, they have a lot. It's not like they lock on to characters really. It's just really a lot of people running and the monsters kind of killing people and terrorizing people. So I don't know. It's just
like,
bloated.
As far as Kyle Chandler, like he gives that like dialogue drop where he's like, Godzilla's hurting people and we don't know why. It's like, he's just Godzilla. He doesn't like care about humans. He's not like
he's a bull in a china shop.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a product of writing, though. Like, I actually like Kyle Chandler as an actor, and I want to see what I was kind of getting at is I feel like every movie I've seen with Alexander Skarsgård, he's wasted. Like, he's just either poor writing or it doesn't ever.
Maybe that's just what he is, Ryan. If that's every movie you've seen.
I mean, what? Like, name a movie that
I really have
he's really been able to like.
You can do it, Alexander.
Like he's never able to really
act.
For some reason, that's so much funnier because his name's Alexander. I don't know why. I don't know. I just feel like he's never able to like.
Hey, your brother is starring in the It movies. What are you doing? Oh, I'm getting smashed by a monster and throwing rocks at demon pterodactyls.
You should check out Hold the Dark. He's better in that. We talked about it last week.
Okay, gotcha. Will do.
Well, folks.
But sorry, Al.
Before we one more thing.
I did want to say a few positives. Like I did think the action was good. I thought that was good. The call, specifically, I didn't really care for the Mecha Godzilla stuff, but I did like Kong and Godzilla fighting on the carrier ship. I thought that they had some interesting like camera like rolls and things that they did, like transitioning between the water and I like that kind of stuff. And the obviously like the scale came into play in the Tokyo fight, and it was a cool like visual aesthetic having the neon Tokyo lights and things like that. And I don't know why people think that there's not a clear winner. I've seen people say that it's like it's obvious there's a clear winner. I don't know why you would think
The
otherwise.
audience.
Because I mean,
Everything I've seen says there is a clear winner, so I don't know.
I've just seen a lot of like people online saying. I think it's because
he never had a
I think
chance.
it's because Kong comes back and saves Godzilla. They defibrillate him. He wakes up and there's a robot.
That
guy.
was
He's like,
the
how,
dumbest.
He's
part
like,
of the
how
movie.
long have I been out? Like, I'm just wondering what Kong's thinking. Like, he
Then
wakes
does
up and
the
there's another
lethal
one
weapon
that's
thing
metal
with his
walking
shoulder.
around.
Yeah, when they defibrillated him with the spacecraft, when they landed on when Skarsgård landed on his chest, I was like, "Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this." And then he hits the switch. I'm like, "You did it, stupid!" It's just so stupid. Like it kept going downhill with dumb ideas and the writing. And yes, it is the writing that I think is the culprit here. But and then he does
that's
the
the thing.
lethal weapon
I think
thing
it's
with
like-
his shoulder, where he has his shoulder out of place and smashes it up against the building. He's like, "Oh, I'm ready to go kill some monsters now." And so stupid.
I think that, and I don't mean to sound like offensive, I think that they do things like that in these types of movies because it's a general audience. There's so much exposition. They have to keep it as streamlined as possible, especially when you're talking about like, you know, international audiences and having it translate.
Yeah.
So they have to kind of dumb it down. I don't mean that offensively. I just mean they just have to like streamline it.
Yeah, and you know, I hate to say it, but it could be worse. I mean, we've seen worse, obviously, but
Al, did you
know.
like the Die Hard jumping off the ship explosion that they do
yeah,
when Kong jumps off and it's got
It's like exactly like it. It's pretty funny.
yeah. I mean, I think Ryan said it earlier. They were winking at the camera a lot in this movie. It just, I don't know. This director, Adam Wingard, he's not had the best career as far as movies go. You're Next is okay. The Guest, it's all right. Then he did the Blair Witch remake, Death Note, and he's doing the sequel. He's co-writing the sequel to Face Off. So
yeah.
I don't know. Good on him. Have fun living the life. But yeah. Anyway. All right, guys. Let's get down to brass tacks. Ryan, what would you do? Would you warm blanket this movie? Would you buy this movie? What would you do? Uh-oh. We've lost Ryan.
We lose Ryan.
Uh-oh.
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 I probably do.
Come back to us, Ryan.
Oh, you guys all disappeared for a second too. I was like, "What's going on?"
There you go, Ryan.
So I'm a completionist, so I'm gonna end up buying this. I if I wasn't a completionist, it'd be a just stream it kind of thing for me. It's worth checking out just for the action, and VFX. But yeah, stream.
Okay. Brandon.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. I will buy it at a discount. I'm not gonna buy it day one, but just to complete the collection.
Black Friday $5 rack.
And yeah, get yourself some HBO Max. Watch Snyder Cut first, and then watch this with a group of people,
and then watch Snyder Cut again,
and then just keep watching Snyder Cut, the regular version, Justice is Great. Just go back and forth, watch it as many times as you can, and hashtag Restore the Snyderverse. Let them know what you want. Thank you.
I really don't want to see any more of these movies, to be honest with you, unless they decide.
I don't know where they go from here. I'm sure they'll make something else, but I just don't.
It's just Fast and the Furious with big monsters at this point.
They're gonna do something with that Hollow Earth thing. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just silly. They're gonna. I mean, they're already making money off this, so they're gonna make more. But I have no interest in really seeing them. I was hoping for the best, but I will say that the CG between Kong and Godzilla was off for the first half of the movie. Kong looked like a CG character for the majority of the beginning.
I feel like Peter Jackson's King Kong looks better than this King Kong.
I agree. I agree.
I don't understand how that's possible.
And that was what, 2 decades ago almost. So, but yeah, so anyway, I have no interest in seeing it. So I'd say, I mean, watch it. I have a feeling more people want to watch it just because of the spectacle of it. But if you really do like the Gareth Edwards one, just go watch that one again, and then watch Monsters by Gareth Edwards as well. Those are both worth buying. So that's my suggestion.
So you're buying it?
I'm gifting it to a person that I just don't like. So no. But yeah, that's our review of Godzilla versus Kong. Brandon, got any closing remarks?
I don't think so. Ryan, you want to tell them where they can find us?
Yeah.
Yep. We're on Instagram at CiNEMACHiNE we're on there pretty much all the time. So hit us up about anything movie related. Then also make sure that you hit the subscribe button and notification bell here on YouTube to stay up to date on everything we're doing.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in to our review of Godzilla vs. Kong. Until the next episode, please keep watching tons of movies. Let us know what you've been watching. Tell us what we should be watching. And we'll see you on the next episode of CiNEMACHiNE.